Hey everyone, one of my favorite quotes is success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it by Maya Angelou. And I think about that quote all the time, especially now when we are in the era of trying to create our soft life CEO era. And because from my lived experience and what I've seen is that success without softness, without that ease, isn't as satisfying. It looks great on paper, feels good in the bank account, but doesn't feel good in our bodies. And that's what today is about. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what it really takes to live that soft life CEO's style. It's not just a picture or a reel on Instagram, but it's the internal and operational shifts that you need to make to create sustainable ease in your life and business. So, I'm going to share my personal burnout story, how I rebuilt using my brain soul method, talk more about that hustler CEO identity and persona, what that looks like behind the scenes, and why nervous system support and backend systems are non-negotiable. So it's two things, not just one, and what needs to change if you want to lead with more clarity, calm, focus, and capacity. So this is especially for you if you are doing well, but it doesn't feel good anymore. So, if you're new to me, hello, my name is Angela Williams. I am a licensed therapist, a leadership coach, and I've created the Brain Soul Method to help high achieving leaders regulate their nervous systems, lead with more clarity and focus, and actually feel good in the lives and the businesses and careers that they have built. So I don't know about you, but I keep seeing all of these videos and pictures online of, women especially who are really craving more of that soft life. They want their businesses to run better. They want their lives to be more easy. They want to set down the stress, and that's amazing, right? And then sometimes we're seeing images of people, they're sipping matcha in the morning, they've got midweek spa days, and they're working 3 hour schedules from Italy. So is that you? If so, awesome. If not, if you're still reviewing your assistant's work because maybe you don't trust that it's going to be 100% right, or getting a Slack message at 5:57 p.m., just asking for one more quick thing right before dinner, or you feel guilty because you're annoyed because you asked for help, right? So you might be leading, but you're exhausted. You want softness, you want more ease, but your nervous system is still on edge. And maybe you created the vision board, mine's over here, but your calendar is still chaotic and not aligned with your vision. And honestly, deep down, it's that no amount of spa days or systems are going to create ease if your body and business are running on overdrive. If you are overextended, if you're not able to show up as a clear, calm leader, the type that you want to be. So here's what I've seen with almost every high functioning, especially women that I coach, is that, she's brilliant. She's not new to this. She knows how to grow a company. She knows how to be successful. She knows what she wants, but she's trapped in how she's been taught to operate. And that goes for both thoughts, emotions, beliefs, patterns of behavior, old operating systems, right? And what happens? Your nervous system's still running on urgency. Your brain is still juggling that mental load of 100 plus tabs open. The business might look like a patchwork of systems and default habits, but really you've outgrown them. So let's talk a little bit more about the behind the scenes of the hustler persona, because I think this is something that, we have kind of evolved into, especially as women, right? I actually did this deep dive on the marketing for women. I think it was in the 50s and 60s when men were coming back home from the war and they needed to resume their work because women had to go out and do these jobs. And so what was sold was the housewife life, but it wasn't necessarily ease. It was let's make sure that you are really into taking care of your family so much, and personal needs were shut down, right? It was like let's be focused on everything else. And I think that has continued. Anyway, I won't go now down more of that rabbit hole, but that was a really interesting piece. But it's talking about how, high achieving women are praised for overextending, and they're giving so much of themselves. They have so many different roles. I talked about this last night too. The CEO lounge, we did a healing the CEO session. It was amazing. And we talked about how, we lead so many different charges. We're responsible for so many things, especially as a business owner, right? So we've got business brain, we might have mom brain, we're a partner, a friend, a daughter, we're doing so much. And so, along the way, women, again, we're called super mom, superheroes, right? And the care of that person was left out of the picture. We have to be pouring into ourselves as much as we're pouring into others, right? We have to bring our community close. We have to do a lot of things to help heal this hustle culture. Because after a while, then the hustle becomes the identity and the expectation. And that's a really vicious cycle. That's a scary thing. So that can lead to chronic stress. That leads to emotional shutdown, fatigue. You're disconnected from yourself, from your creativity. You're not able to tap into your executive functioning as much. That's what happens when we see chronic stress. And so those are really big problems, especially for women, but any leaders, right? That means that they're not able to fully creatively think through a problem, that they're not able to fully set up systems that are going to allow them to have that soft life, right? So this is the culture that we need to really examine and see how that's playing a role in our own lives, in our bodies, in our health, in our mental wellness, right? All of that's connected. So talking more about some of these areas that I see current CEOs stuck in, mentally, it's that constant decision fatigue. There's so many decisions to make when some of that stuff can be automated, right? We've got calendar clutter. We need to say no. We need to be more intentional about what we're doing with our time. And a lot of times it's overthinking everything from client delivery to Instagram captions to what's for dinner. I mean, the brain is always on, the performance is always on, feeling the weight that a mental load of 100 plus tabs, right? Like I said, we've always got that going on our computer and our brains, right? It's everywhere. And emotionally, feeling like you have to carry the weight of maybe your team, your clients, your family, right? Maybe feel guilty for needing rest and not doing. I think there's shame for wanting more support now, and that is the opposite, right? We need as much support as we can get. And there's that feeling of resentment, like no one else is getting this, right? Like I need these things to work. Why is no one getting this? And so maybe operationally, maybe you're delegating things, but you're still the main computer. Your brain is the main computer, right? Your team asks you what to do. And so maybe those P's aren't so clear, right? You're managing systems that are built for a business that you maybe outgrew 2 years ago. This is why it's so important that we are always in a state of looking at how we can support ourselves and our environment. Our environment is this business. Our environment is our company. Our environment is our team, our home, right? All of these things connect. This is where I bring in my holistic approach, because we are not just living in bubbles, right? It's all connected. And this is why that soft life CEO era isn't about, aesthetic or manifesting ease, but it's this response. It's this deep response to burnout, overextension, no boundaries, people pleasing. This is what we're seeing right now with the soft life CEO era. And I'm all about it. Let's bring it in and let's figure out how to do that. So, and just to share personally, I was that hustler CEO. I had 3 jobs at a time, multiple times. I have 2 businesses now, but I had, a full-time job and a business. I was trying to work 7 days a week. I served clients. I hit milestones. I did all the things. I was praised for, wow, you look like you have it all together. That's amazing. Right? All the things, my results. But behind the scenes, there were times when I had zero capacity, mentally or emotionally. I looking back now, I was so disconnected. My body was in like pain a lot. It was the stress, the shoulders, the jaw tension, right? My body was literally screaming at me here, and I wasn't getting the picture. My calendar was full and I wanted to feel better, but I didn't. I felt terrible. I was overthinking. I was carrying everybody's energy, all the to-do lists. It was too much. So I didn't need more strategy. What I needed was that reset in my brain, my body, my business. So I took that. And what changed for me was learning how to repattern the way that I worked and led, because the patterns from before were not serving me. So I had to understand what that was and how it was impacting my brain, body, my behavior, my emotions. And that's what I now teach my clients through the brain soul method. This is a process that integrates more of the mindset and cognitive rewiring. So we are understanding our thoughts, patterns, these protective habits keeping you in overdrive. So if we are responding in fight or flight, that's your body being protected. That's your system responding and being protective to something maybe it doesn't know. So if we are trying to, bring more ease in, but what we know is kind of chaos and stress, your mind and body are saying, hey, this isn't familiar. Back up, right? This could be a threat. And more of that nervous system regulation. So, learning how to recognize when your body is kind of hijacking the clarity and how to come back to your center faster, right? Because that's going to bring creativity, compassion, that clear leadership, right? That clear thinking. That's what we need more of. And my framework also focuses on soul led visioning. So we are reconnecting with that core wise version of you, that version of you who knows what she wants and how to feel while getting there, right? So you can have this vision, but if you don't have the capacity to see that through, that's not healthy, sustainable leadership, right? And when we have so many ideas and we have this big vision and we don't have the regulation, it becomes another form of pressure. Like, how many times have you started a new idea and then had to think about all of the things that come with that? So, the solution is not just about resting more. Obviously, that's important, but it's about building not just a business, but an identity that no longer requires you to hustle. Like, we have to be done with the hustle harder to succeed. Of course, we are going to have times when when we are building our business, and that does require a bit more energy. But we have got to figure out that balance, that way to integrate micro moments of nervous system reset throughout the day. Noticing your schedule throughout the month, notice your schedule throughout the year. How do we create balance, support, and health to make that sustainable for you as a leader? That's the thing that's going to be different for everybody, but it's going to be personal to you, but it's needed. You need to know this stuff. We're not taught this. We're not taught this in business school. We're not taught this in any school, right? So when I'm working with clients, we've got to figure this out. We don't just add rest to the plate, right? It's about rebuilding the whole thing. So your nervous system, your calendar, your leadership, all reflect who you're becoming. This is the identity work. This is the core of that. So I've partnered now with a systems and operations strategist because here's the thing I believe: you don't need another planner or productivity tool. You need an integrated strategy that feels aligned and works from the inside out. Your mind, right? Your body is aligned. Your systems feel good, they're clear, and they're working. So here's what a soft CEO business backend really looks like. So you have regular nervous system rituals that ground your day, not just a morning routine, right? That's great. That's just the start of it, right? But we need throughout the day. Client delivery systems that don't rely on your brain, they can operate without you. Same with project flow, team flow, that reflect your energy and capacity to give and show up. Emotional regulation tools that help you prevent these spirals, second guessing, shut down, want to burn it all down, ghosting your business. I've heard stories where people have scaled to, 7 figures, ghosted. That tells me we have a gap between the capacity, the nervous system, that mindset. Like that's where the work lives, right? Because there's a lot of things we could do instead of ghost. Also, it's decision-making support based on your values and future identity. So we're not operating off of that past scarcity or that hustler persona. That's what we need to be focused on, is the future and how do we move forward towards that. So if you're hearing this, you're like, yes, this is me. Here's what you do first. We're going to start with the nervous system. So because if your body doesn't feel safe slowing down and, kind of making some changes, your brain's going to keep creating that chaos just to feel in control. This is a protective mechanism. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just how it is. It might be what it's used to. We've got to do some shifts there. Auditing where you have energy leaks. So Are you holding on to things that someone else can carry, responsibilities, workflows, things like that? Where are you still being the system instead of having a system? We're going to have a resource to walk you through this, so definitely stay with me here. Get the whole picture support. So you don't just need maybe like a piecemeal one here, an assistant, a mindset one-off thing, but you need someone or a team who sees how you operate inside and out and helps you build sustainably. That's the key. So I've recently collaborated with an amazing ops person in AC, and I created the efficient CEO experience for high-level leaders who are tired of just piecemeal half solutions. They want everything to be streamlined. They want it to work well. They value excellence, right? So we blend the somatic leadership, that mindset recalibration, and streamlined operations so you can step into your soft CEO era. You're successful and it feels good. So if you're craving more business that feels like peace and not pressure, comment or DM me Soft Life. I'll send you the invite. It is available to you. It's not about just slowing down, but it's about choosing to lead intentionally and differently from your body, from your vision, from your truth, right? Again, success is liking yourself, liking what you do, and liking how you do it. So let's build your business and your life one that feels good. Okay, so I'm going to put the links in the comments, or of course, DM me or comment Soft Life. I'll send you all the details. Take care.